I'm going to state up front that I'm aware of the historical controversy of the main developer behind this title. I'm going to critique this title on its own merits, so if you're looking for any kind of commentary on the developer or Gamergate, it will not be present here, and you can safely switch off now. Depression Quest is sold for free as an interactive fiction game. You may better think of this as a choose-your-own adventure game. Depression Quest piqued my interest because of this. I have many fond memories of the choose-your-own adventure books that I played in my childhood, particularly the fighting fantasy books by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. I feel the need to also state that my original script for this game tore it to pieces. I could not see any value to the game and felt that it had, in some way, stomped all over my childhood. I used to think that these reactions to reboots of media were complete hyperbole. Indeed, despite being a childhood fan of Generation 1 Transformers, I did not have that reaction to the Michael Bay films. I think they're terrible, but I guess I was glad in some way that there was just more Transformers. I originally had such a strong reaction because the game does a very poor job of showing what depression is like for someone who has not suffered. On reviewing the Steam store page now, I can see that this is one of the two stated aims for the game. In full, those two aims are to show other sufferers' depression that they are not alone in their feelings, and to illustrate to people who may not understand the illness the depths of what it can do to people. From researching and absorbing even other critiques of the game, I saw that it resonated with people who have or have had depression. They could identify what was going on with the story and see how it applied to their own situations. For this reason, I can no longer say the game is without merit. I think now the game achieves one of its goals very well, based on other people's testimony, but does not show or go far enough to someone without experience of depression. This is best illustrated by my general approach. I tend to treat choose-your-own adventures and role-playing games in general similarly to how I approach role-playing games the first time through. I make choices as close as to what I would in real life and see where I end up. I'm aware of the potential absurdity of this given that a lot of these choices are present in some kind of fantasy world, and I've got about as much experience of wielding a sword and shield as I do launching fireballs out of my own hands. What I mean to say is that given an approach like lawful, evil, or chaotic, I will tend to follow my own morality. If the game grabs my attention for a second playthrough, I will attempt to play something I'm not. I might think of a specific character archetype and play to that. I've no personal frame of reference for depression, and picking what I deem to be the worst options on initial playing through seemed a little childish. I also do not think that was the intention of the developer. This approach though did not help me on my first playthrough. I had made the choices that I would make, so I spoke with my partner, sought medical help, and I got counselling. The depression got more manageable throughout the game, and whilst there does not appear to be a cured state, it seemed to be the best ending. Thus, I did not gain any insight. My next playthrough, I did the complete opposite. I made what I thought to be bad choices, and the game tried to show me via striking through dialogue choices, making the audio track glitch, and the greater presence of static imagery at the bottom of the screen that these choices were having a deepening effect. The striking out of the choices bothered me in the sense that they forcibly led you down one path and seemed to trivialise the choice. In some passages there will be multiple options but only one being available. The audio and graphical clues were subtle, do not directly affect the gameplay, but just an illustrative touch. In my opinion, this would have been better handled by having more branching paths throughout the game. So rather than eliminate options, replace them completely with more context relevant scenarios. You could counter this by saying, well, that's the point, you don't have a choice, you should be aware of the choice but not be able to enact it. It could be that I'm a complete idiot and not grasping of the situation of what the game is trying to tell me to do, but to fix this game for me, I would have liked to have seen more information. A sliding morality meter may have been a bit too gamey, but a greater emphasis on graphical and visual clues, the deeper you go into the condition, would have got the point across a lot stronger. Perhaps interactive links to medical resources would have been useful too. I accept that these can take you out of the experience, but perhaps they could have been bookmarked in some way in the game for review later on. I am particularly thinking about the medication that is offered in the story. I can understand that there can be fear or reluctance to taking medication, but I do not know why. In summary, I could only recommend Depression Quest to someone who already suffers or has suffered. It does not do enough for non-sufferers to really understand what the condition is. That said, the game is free, and if you're a regular reader, and by that I mean read regularly as a hobby, each playthrough should only take you 15 minutes.